So in 9.1c, we are going to continue using identities to verify that these are true. So if we take a look at example 7a, we have a 1 minus a cotangent squared and a 1 plus cotangent squared multiplied together, and we're going to show that that's equal to 1. Now remember, you want to take the simplest side, kind of hold it, think of that as your answer, and we're going to use what we know about our trig functions in order to verify we're going to get 1. Well, I see this one, and I know I have an identity that contains a cosine squared. So let's write it up here. I know that sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. So how could I manipulate this to make it match? Well, I need to put this cosine squared over here by subtraction. So I know that sine squared is the same as 1 minus cosine squared. So this is the same as a sine squared. Now, there is another of our Pythagorean identities that looks like that. 1 plus cotangent squared is an exact match for our cosecant squared. So this is equal to a cosecant squared. I'm sorry, my angle is x, so let's try to keep whatever angle they start with the same angle you use throughout the problem. Okay, so what do we know about the sine and the cosecant? The sine and the cosecant are reciprocals. So let's rewrite either one. It doesn't matter which. This is 1 over the cosecant squared times our cosecant squared. We could put this one over 1. You want to physically show that these cancel. You get 1 over 1, which is 1. Once they match, write it again and put your arrow notation so you didn't have to write it again and again and again. So there is example 7a. In example 7b, I think this is our simplest side. Now I would also think in my brain, okay, one step before I'm done, I should probably get a cosine over a sine, because that's what a cotangent is. So, keep all that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to hold the left side. My answer is -2 cotangent. I can remember that that's what a cotangent is. And then I am going to combine these fractions. Now, if 2 fractions are multiplied, you just multiply tops with tops and bottoms with bottoms. If 2 fractions are added or subtracted, you have to get a common denominator. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to put parentheses around the originals. I'm going to give myself some room. So give yourself a little bit of room here between each one. And let's think about what we need to do. We need to multiply this denominator over here and this denominator over there. Okay. Now we know we need a very simple cosine over sine eventually. Okay. So I'm going to multiply 1 minus cosine here and a 1 plus cosine here. Okay, I just kind of reversed them. So look, I did this one, top and bottom over here. I did this one, top and bottom over there. Because our denominators now are 1 plus cosine times 1 minus cosine. Just remember, to add fractions, once you get the common denominators, we just can add or subtract the tops. Now, what's on top? Well, sine times that quantity. If we distribute, we get sine minus sine times cosine. And now let's distribute a negative sign to both of those. We get negative sine negative sine cosine. Now, if we think about what are like terms, these are opposites, opposite like terms. They're going to cancel. Gone. These are like terms, but we're just going to add them together. Negative one of them and negative one of them is negative two of them. Ooh, look what's happened. We have found the negative 2 we were looking for. Now, always when you're doing these problems, kind of keep looking back. What am I looking for? What is my answer? Remember, your answer was negative 2 cotangent of x. Now, these are something called conjugates. A plus b times a minus b. They always multiply very nicely. So when you see that relationship, multiply them. We get 1 minus cosine squared. Now, 1 minus cosine squared is a Pythagorean. Hopefully by now you're starting to see the pattern. That is the same as a sine squared. So 1 minus cosine squared is the same as a sine squared. 1 minus sine squared is the same as a cosine squared. So what's going to happen now is we're going to get one of these, and one of these are going to cancel. So we get negative 2 cosine left on top, and only one sine left on the bottom. That's exactly what we were hoping for, because that is the same as negative 2 cotangent. Once you get a match, write it on the line where you got the exact match, put your arrow notation. So that is kind of a complicated one where we have some fractions involved. Yeah, it's a lot of work. But there is that one. I'll leave that there for a minute so you can take a look at that. And then that should lead you to practice some more. Do we have any other ones? Don't worry about this one. Okay, and then you're ready to start the homework that you see there. So there's some more trig identities. Hope that helps. Thanks.